you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing.
Hello, and we are live. Welcome. We are rocking out here on Super PlayStation Bros. I am joined by Dorgon, bringing the trophies to the podcast, grabbing those platinums. How are you doing this week? We are Super PlayStation Bros. This is a PlayStation First podcast talking everything there is about PlayStation in the week beforehand, and there is a lot to cover this week. We got a little bit of news, we got some state of plays happening, and then we got the big one, Xbox coming to PlayStation, and we are going to jump into job postings, evidence from CEOs, and much more. So stay tuned. We got an awesome show for everyone. And thanks everyone in chat for joining in. FCAT, I am coming for you tomorrow. I'm bringing the hell to Helldivers. All right, it's gonna be land, and then we're all gonna be like, yeah, we're part of a team, and I'm like, pow pow pow, boom, welcome.
Who can I kill first in my team? Yeah, sounds about right.
Oh, and I can't wait for that game to come. But before we get into it, Dorgon, what's been going on? What are you up to?
Well, you mentioned I was bringing trophies, so I thought I'd bring a trophy in with me, because this guy is still awesome 3 or 4 months later. So yeah, there's my trophy. I have been up to a lot of Prince of Persia, and a little bit of the news that we're getting into in a bit. There's a new beta software which has also brought updates to PlayStation VR 2, and it's improved my tracking. So I'm really working on that platinum trophy in Beat Saber once more, having a bit of fun in Before You Fall, which is a roguelike VR title. Incredibly intense fitness, very similar to what we saw in the showcase. Again, stuff we're going to be getting into, but I've been having a great time just gaming, playing, and then there's been showcases, state of plays, news drops, rumors, the opposition saying outlandish things. Like, it's been a week. It has been a week, hasn't it?
Absolutely. We have a lot going on. Foam Stars dropped yesterday, which I got
That
into.
happened, yes.
I was having some fun with Cowboy, Biohazard. We actually did 3 wins in a row. So I was getting my foam on in Bath, Vegas. Now, listen, people may be hating on this game, but it is a PS Plus exclusive coming to PS4 and PS5 as part of the Essentials. So there is a lot to play, a lot of population. I jumped into a match under 2 minutes every single time. And you know what? I had fun. There was strategy. It was more than Splatoon because there's this big PvP element. The covering the battlefield with your foam is only for traversal and survival. It's not for dominance or winning like that. It's all PvP.
Yeah.
It's fun, and the music, man, the music gets you pumping. It's like a party in there. I don't know. I love the characters.
I enjoy Foam Stars.
Yeah,
I really do. I love it. You love it. Like, as you said, and I think this is a really important thing and something a lot of games do forget on occasion. It's fun. What more do you need from a video game? Fun.
Yes.
It should be the baseline for all of them, and Foam Stars, I feel, absolutely nails that.
Right. And not to mention, we got a stealth drop of a demo, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I got into. I played, I enjoyed. There was a lot of reaction I had to the state of play. Miss Phoenix was in watching and just freaking out with me as well. Cat Sith? Okay, am I not saying this right? That character was
Kate,
amazing.
Kate Sith,
Kate?
I
Kate Sith.
believe.
See,
Yeah.
I'm not. What? He looks like a
No, no,
cat,
no.
right?
Well, yes, he is a cat, but it said Kate because it's weird mix of different languages. But yeah, he's Kate Sith, and I have no idea why on earth he is. I don't even know whether he's meant to be Irish or Scottish, but it's an American putting on an accent terribly. That is what the voice
Wow.
acting is, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Kate Sith is a robot. This game,
Yeah, but it's a cat on the outside. You put the good boy cat, the good boy dog, and Kate Sith one shots everything later in the game. So, sorted.
wow.
Or at
Well,
least
there's a
did in the
lot to get
original.
into. I want to get more into the reactions later, but I did play a bit of the demo. But really, I've been amped up to get into Helldivers 2. They just released a bit of the story behind Helldivers 2, going all about the galactic war and how the bugs and the automatons are coming on to Super Earth, and you as a super citizen have to unite as a united front and sacrifice your body for the cause. It was absolutely so much fun. I can't wait to jump in. There are so many people on the hype train behind it. If you haven't seen already on the Rudig's channel, in the link in the description below, there is a awesome couple videos, everything you need to know about Helldivers 2. It's just been so much fun. I can't wait for it. I've been on the hype train for this, so
I
glad it's
know
coming.
you between you and Wibble's in the chat at the moment. Between you and Wibble, I have actually secondhand got hype for Helldivers 2.
Yes.
Like, I enjoyed Helldivers 1. It's a fun twin sticks top-down shooter game. I like it. I've got no issues with it whatsoever. But it wasn't one of those pinnacle experiences for me. I just had fun. But between the two of you, I am this close to spending £35. And that's the thing, it's 35 quid. It is a half price game compared to, say, Spider-Man 2, which was a £70 title. And there's going to be at least £35 worth of fun in it, I'm pretty sure. And especially with you guys jumping in it tomorrow, all through the course of my workday, I'm going to be sitting watching Wibble stream it, watch you stream it, because I imagine you're waking up and playing it, streaming it, probably jumping in with Wibble, jumping in with FCAT. I really want to jump, but I don't know if it's going to speak to me correctly, and I've not yet finished Prince of Persia Lost Crown, so chill giving me secondhand hype.
Yeah. I know it's hard to pick up another game before finishing another. I hate juggling different games, but hey, when a game comes along with this much fun and just path behind it, I really want to jump behind it. And that being said, get prepared because at the end of the show we are doing the wheel spin. So that's it. The winner circle is done, and we are doing the draw today. So thanks everyone for hanging out in the streams and coming out and showing support. Do appreciate that. But let's jump
Can I
into
give
the
them?
news. Oh yeah, yeah,
Can I give them a
absolutely.
spoiler of that wheel spin before we get there?
Yes.
I'm not going to win because I don't think I'm on the wheel.
No.
My luck is held up as per normal, and every entry has not got me onto the winner's circle. So, little spoiler, I'm not going to win it.
But I will say this, someone in the audience doesn't, I don't think they know, but Miss Phoenix, you won yesterday's wheel spin, the last wheel spin. I had left the stream open all day, so we had people entering all throughout. So much love. Thank you so much for coming by the stream, even though I changed it midway through because of the stealth drop. So we had Miss Phoenix win and enter the winner circle. So yes, you're on the draw. You're on the
As
draw.
she says, I'm not going to win. I've never won
Yeah.
anything. I'm raging. Oh, wait, I take it back.
And there was a lot of people on that wheel. I think we had almost 20 entries. So GG's Phoenix.
Well
But we
played.
are
Well played.
getting
Right, let's
into
get
the
into it. We've got a busy day ahead
yes.
of us.
Yeah, we got time, not enough time to cover all this news. So PS5 beta adds DualSense controller enhancements and share reactions. Dorgon, do you want to let people know what's been going on with this update since you have access and I do not, and I'm salty.
So yeah, I got access to this beta software yesterday. It's doing a few small quality of life things that add up to feel like a big thing. So as it said, it's doing stuff with the DualSense. It's mostly with the speaker. It's improving the quality of it. If anybody's ever tried to use the speaker on the DualSense for, say, party play, so the idea is you can just pick up the DualSense and use that to talk to people on PlayStation because you've got a mic here and then you've got a speaker just up here. But the speaker's never been that good. Wibble and I tried using it when the PS5s first came out, and we were playing like this with the thing right in front of our face so that we could actually hear what was going on. So they've improved that. It's a little bit louder. It's got a bit more depth, a bit more of an EQ going on it, which is a really nice quality of life change. It's quite good for games that utilize the speaker as well. If you're playing through, say, stereo surround system or a Tempest 3D audio TV, anything like that. Really good for the sounds that come out of the speaker itself. So nice little quality of life improvement there. It's also done similar to what it did a while back where you could change the beep on your system. It's now changing the power light intensity, so you can have it as high, medium, or low, which I tend to play either first thing in the morning or late at night when it's dark. So that's a really nice quality of life thing for me where I'm not blinding myself turning the PlayStation on. As I'm not deafening myself or waking the whole household up with that beep. But it's had a huge impact on PlayStation VR 2. It's had firmware updates for both the headset and the Sense controllers, and I have personally found that my tracking has been much better since this update. It's a couple of months out from wider release. I hope they release the VR firmware update prior to that because it's made a massive difference to my quality of play. I am not missing blocks in Beat Saber anywhere near as much. I have got a much better block and attack in before you fall. It's just been a better overall experience. So I fingers crossed that one rolls out to everybody else a lot quicker. And there are a few other things with share play in there where you can share your screen and have people watch your gameplay where they can be much more engaged with it and helping you out. But I've not had chance to test that yet because nobody else that I know has the beta. I was kind of hoping you'd get it so we could test that for the show, but here we are. Um,
PlayStation. Hello.
Notice me, senpai.
I know.
So yeah,
Oh
it's a good
well.
quality of life update. Nothing earth shattering or dynamic shifting. It's just nice quality of life things that all added together feel like a big positive change.
Yeah, I mean, I personally was hoping for more Discord integration, but that's just a me use case. However, I'm happy to see this upgrade to share screen. I've used it from time to time, and I know it'd be helpful in games like Sekiro, actually, where I have used it for guidance. So, props to them for doing this and noticing that this is what people want to do in share screen. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
that whole circling emoji reactions and stuff. It's a nice quality of life thing, as you said. You've coached people through games, and it would help you massively with that sort of thing. So yeah, all good quality of life updates.
But let's race through this before we run out of time because I know we got so
Formula
much.
One
We are
style.
seeing a yes, and I know you're on the hype train for F1. But this is according to this guy, I don't know his name, Shapshil Nick. That, that that's not gonna be a great pronunciation.
I
The
just liked this guy.
for the remaking of Uncharted Drake Fortune as series. As per sources, it was strongly considered. Recent focus on the remakes aligned Sony's decision. So, are we going to see this? This is a pretty big rumor. I'm not sure about the substantiation of this rumor as the sources. However, I could definitely see it with the current trend of remakes. And I've never played it, so it would be new for me.
That's a big thing. Uncharted Drake's Fortune was a PlayStation 3 launch title. We're talking 2007 there. We're nearly 20 years removed from that game. Just let that one sink in, folks. We're nearly 20 years removed from Uncharted Drake's Fortune release. Ouch. Man, I feel old.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who've not played it. People like yourself, a lot of folks jumped over to 360 in that generation because it launched first, it was cheaper, and it had more games at launch as well. So a lot of people jumped into 360 and left PlayStation 3 behind. And because of the architecture of PlayStation 3, a lot of the games are locked on that system. You can't play Metal Gear Solid 4 easily now. Uncharted Drake's Fortune did have a PlayStation 4 remaster where it was just a nice coat of paint, a few button changes, and just ported to the PlayStation 4 architecture. But there's a lot of other games that are stuck back there. You can't play the original Assassin's Creed on PlayStation if you don't have a PlayStation 3, for example, and so on and so forth. This game's not aged well. I went back and played it when I saw this rumor, and it is just the sources say it was considered, so we don't know if it is going to be made. But if it was, I think it would be a great move for Sony. This is what started this whole identity that they now have of these strong single-player narrative titles. This is the game that kicked it all off. And to give that an update where it feels much more modern, looks absolutely amazing, loads super quick on current gen hardware, all of the effects that they could add on there that they couldn't do at the time for the limitations of the hardware and the unique nature of that cell processor in PS3, I think it would be a very good thing. And of course, it could go to PC and have those guys have a great time of it as well. I do think it deserves a remake. We're at that sort of 20-year mark. It'd be great for folks like yourself, like you say. It'd be great for folks like me who love the game, absolutely adore it, but dread going back to it because it is aged and it doesn't feel as good to play as it did back in the day, especially with things like 6-axis controls. That's not a thing anymore. Like balancing on a beam by balancing your controller, it's completely unintuitive nowadays. So yeah, it needs an update, and I'm looking forward to if that does come. But as the statement says, it was considered, not necessarily in production.
Haha, FCAT. At least Sony has exclusive. Yes, stay tuned. We'll be getting into what's going on with Xbox as well. But this one is right up your camp, FCAT. Dorgon must have grabbed it from the rumor mill, where you grab a lot of your stories. We have another one from the rumor mill, which is quite juicy. I know you're a little bit excited for this. You were showing me off all of these distant cases. I don't have a PS Vita myself in my life, but I'm excited for a possible PS Vita 2. And we're hearing that on a high level, certain microchips or processors are being developed, and we're at least 2 years out and is not technically greenlit. But these are the rumors that we're hearing so far. Dorgon, what do you have to say? I mean, the source is not the greatest, but I could definitely see it being a possibility with all the hype behind mobile gaming right now.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense with the hype behind mobile gaming and the absolute catastrophe that is this thing, the Portal. They need. PlayStation used to be one of the major players in handheld consoles. It started with this thing, the PlayStation Portal. It came with fantastically designed ergonomics. It had fantastically transportable UMD discs, which are completely protected from all angles. Brilliant medium for putting stuff in and what have you. And they followed it up with the Vita. Now, the Vita is a better console in terms of ergonomics, for like two sticks, for example, for one. Shoulder buttons, like clicky face buttons, OLED screens, touchscreen, front and rear. Really, really good console overall, but it had zero software support from Sony. It didn't sell in huge numbers, and it's never going to sell in huge numbers if you don't have the software support, again, as we will come back to a little bit later in the show. But then they abandoned that around 2015, and nothing has happened with handhelds with Sony since. But what they did at the tail end of last year was launch this thing. This is the PlayStation Portal, a remote play device. And it's the most comfortable handheld I have ever used. It just sits in the hand so beautifully. It's like your actual DualSense controller, feels exactly the same. The triggers have got all of the resistiveness to them as the DualSense itself. You've got all of the other inputs. The only downside is the touchpad. It's on a screen and you've got to double tap it rather than just single tap it. A bit weird, that one. But this was a huge commercial success, despite reviewing pretty terribly across the board. For every one positive review, there's about 10 negative reviews. And having used it for 4 months at this point, I completely understand that one. But it sold like hotcakes. It sold so quickly, so positively. Every time they restock it, it is sold out everywhere in the world. And it has reminded Sony that there is a massive crowd that want a handheld console, that they want an easy in terms of space, in terms of access, in terms of comfort and portability to the PlayStation ecosystem. And so they are obviously looking now at the possibility of that. And I do presume that it is from the success of Portal that they are looking at a full handheld possibility. Like you said, it's not greenlit yet. So this is not a definitive thing that will be coming. But the rumors are stating that they're talking to AMD about a unique and bespoke version of the PlayStation 5 chipset for a handheld device. And if that's true, that means we can get PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games natively on the go. If they also throw cloud gaming and remote play into that, it's a no-brainer as an easy into the PlayStation ecosystem. It's heavily based in rumor and it's based in a request of, is this possible to AMD at the moment? There is nothing more on it. Production hasn't started. Production probably won't start, and we don't even know if AMD can do this, let alone the SSD manufacturers and such. Can they transfer that into a portable? What about cooling for the power of the PlayStation 5? There's a lot of questions to be answered before this could go to market, but if it's true, it's what a lot of PlayStation handheld fans, myself definitely included, have been asking for around about 10 years at this point.
Well, I wanted I don't know if we would get a physical disc version and maybe a digital store version. I could see it being.
I would
Um
expect, yes.
yeah. But hey, I'm all for it. Give me something that I don't need to connect to the internet and just go off and play. But I guess internet's going to be everywhere soon. So it's hey, it's two different directions. Get the market. If they're selling out, why not make another? They'll probably sell out of
Yeah,
that one.
probably so.
Uh
I'll probably end up with it for a review as well, of
yeah.
course.
Let's jump into everybody's favorite games as a live service. So, report Dorgon, bearer of horror and doom yet again. Thanks for this one.
Why?
This is
Why am I the prophet of doom? Like, I'm so sorry, guys.
I'm gonna just drop this stat on everybody, and then we're gonna get into state of play because it doesn't make me feel fantastic. Let's say so. The report is 95% of studios are working on or aim to release a live service game. In the survey of 537 game studios, live ops development teams wanted faster content releases. So that means out of 537 studios, 95% of them were making live service. That's insane to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I just direct your attention out of the left-hand window here, and you will see the corpse of Anthem. If you move your sights slightly to the front, you will there find the corpse of Marvel's Avengers, and there is a fresh kill happening right on the right-hand side of the coach over here, and that is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. If you look back on the path here, you will see littered with corpses of other live service titles. Seriously, there are very few that succeed. We've got Destiny, we've got Apex, we've got Fortnite. They are about the only three that have actually succeeded in producing a live service game. So why try when it's littered with failures? Like, what is the point? And why did Wibblesniff get timed out by Stream
I
Elements
have
bot?
no idea. I was just looking at that. I'm like, what? I don't even have a
It
timeout.
was like my poor boy Anthem, and then it was like, no, you can't mourn
No,
Anthem. Bye.
Wibble. Why? Damn you, Stream Elements.
You're not allowed to mourn Anthem, just like you should not mourn Stadia or
Why?
Sega.
Stream Elements was like, no one will speak of Anthem. Dorgon, you're next.
So yeah, what my little skit was trying to get to is the road is littered with failures of live service games. Studios making live service games that just don't take off. That they have to hit a note. They have to be really special or really different or really unique. But none of them are. Like Anthem was. Anthem was different. Anthem was unique, but Anthem still failed. And then everything else that's come after it has not been unique and special and interesting. It's just been fairly par for course for what a live service is. And the player base is tired of them. That live service bubble is popping. 95% of studios trying to make one. 97% of those 95 are going to fail. I can guarantee it. You might have one that succeeds. One. But yes, just stop it and make a better game. If you make a good game, people will come and buy it and play it at full price, and then you can move on to making the next one. You don't need to worry about this live service crap. So I'm sorry, it's done to death. It's too much. It's too prolific, and all of them are failures and a waste of everybody's time.
Absolutely. I would agree. Live service games, ignore Helldivers. Helldivers is going to be awesome. But that is, I mean, just, I hate the ultra focus of it. I hate that it's so many studios, 95% of just focusing in on the one aspect. So I really hope that, more games that I enjoy, are front of mind for a lot of these studios, but perhaps these 537 studios discluded all my favorites. So fingers crossed for that. I can't fathom 537 live service games coming to the marketplace and these people thinking they're going to do well.
Yeah, they're not. Like Maker says, yes, there's a list of successful games, but how long ago were most of those successful games launched that he's mentioned? CS:GO, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV. The youngest of those four is 10 years old. The oldest is 30. Like, come on. They were launched at a time where there wasn't the competition that there is now for people's attention and live service options. Yes, something like Genshin Impact hit, but that's because it's a free game. It's a freemium title. You pay for things in game. These other ones that we're talking about, they're wanting a full price of entry, and that, from this report, is what most people are building, a full price entry live service game that then comes with microtransactions atop that and additional content to be paid for further down the road. People are tired of it and they're not going to settle for it. So, and it's not worth the risk, as Ninja Guy says, with so many of them, 537 coming to market, how many are going to be successful? Maybe one.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you're really rolling the dice, and it's a gamble for what you're putting your money into for a revenue outcome. I just think that's a real saturation of the market when you're getting to those big numbers, and 95% of them are making live service. I mean, I hope the best for devs, but good luck out there. But let's get into state of play. These games of the live service are going to come out, and we'll see how they do. Perhaps some will catch on. Helldivers 2. That will do it. That will do well. So we had State of Play happen right after our podcast, because everything happens right after our podcast. Stay tuned, by the way.
The moment we go offline, yeah.
Stay tuned to locked into PlayStation for after this podcast, because I bet you big things are going to happen. I felt like Stellar Blade had a big showcase. They're really putting this front and center. I think PlayStation is now turning their console war focuses onto Nintendo coming out with their version of Bayonetta, in my mind. What is your thoughts on the state of play, Stellar Blade?
I mean, everything about the state of play I enjoyed. I liked the state of play. We do have a full episode up of Super PlayStation Brothers reviewing, going over the state of play. So we're not going to cover it in too much depth here. Go watch that one after you've watched this live one. We do have some quite interesting takes. I liked the look of Stellar Blade. I did not get the Bayonetta vibes. Have you been talking to Wibblesniff? He just said this was Bayonetta, but slightly less slutty. Those were his exact words this morning on stream. Slightly less slutty than Bayonetta, yeah.
Did you
So
see?
that's
She
how
just
Wibble feels
walked
about
through,
it.
and there was a jiggle here. I don't know. I don't know.
There's jiggle physics, yeah, but she is not taking her clothes off in every fight scene like Bayonetta is.
That we know of.
So
That we know of.
like I said on our review of it, I like the fashion game of this. I like the fact that she's wearing a different costume in every single scene. I'm here for the fashion game. The gameplay looks great. It looks fun. It's currently up for pre-order. I got a notification through the PlayStation app just before the show that it's up for pre-order now. I want a demo before I commit to this particular game, and many of the others that were in the showcase, the state of play. I want demos. I need to know for myself with hands-on experience how they feel, how they play. And I do expect we might see one. We've just had one drop for the second state of play that we had in this last week since we were last on air, which is the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth one. So there's hope. There's definitely hope. But I thought it was a great showcase, best we've had in years. Granted, the bar was so low that wasn't a hard thing to achieve, but it felt good to see games that are coming this year that are exclusive to the console that look to be taking advantage of the console.
Hey, give me more haptics. I felt it right away with that Final Fantasy demo. Um, I love it. I love the controller. I think they did something special with it. The 3D audio, I know they keep hyping that up, but it's like I just hear the game. I guess it sounds good. It's hard to differentiate between 3D audio and regular audio. Um,
I have it coming through my entire room. So my TV
oh,
does Tempest 3D audio. The entire
okay.
screen is the speaker. So it is blasting out in multiple different ways. And you notice it. You really do. I'm sitting on the sofa and I can hear things coming from my left, right, from behind me. I do hear it to a similar degree in the headphones in the Pulse 3D headset, but I do prefer it in the actual space. If you've got a good sound system and you can put the Tempest 3D audio through that, I would recommend the spatial version of it through a television or hi-fi set or something like that, because it does heighten the experience. It is incredible.
Fruitings loves things that vibrate.
Hey, you said it,
Touche.
not me.
Touche, FCAT. I said it because I read that comment and I'm unarmed. The sword flew out of my hand. Good job. And look, I even got a.
This
Yes.
one's
So
for the Brits out there. Expelliarmus.
yes. The other two games I just want to touch on briefly. We saw Shadow and Sonic teaming up. This game is going to include new content as well as a or remade content, remastered
Remade,
content,
yes.
remade.
Remade.
Sorry, these words. This is my argument, right? They're the interchangeable. Or
No,
is
no, I
this a
think that's your command of
rebirth?
the language that's the issue there.
Oh, touche again. All right, I need to start winning some sword fights. That's gonna be a cool one to drop. Lots of nostalgia behind it. Can't say enough good things about the pinball aspect of Sonic that I love so much. The chinging when you grab the coin, ding 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 ding, and then going through the checkpoints with the rolly, like they do everything right with lights and vibrant colors to really do that. Ron, the DualSense controller does not go there to best operate, but it would make for great content, I'm sure, on certain sites.
Oh dear.
La-
Shall we move on?
Yes. We had a huge thing of Death Stranding 2. Lots of cool aspects of that. We really went into a deep dive. Is there anything you want to say on Death Stranding 2 before I drop the state of play from our talk?
I think just go watch our video, our full video. We break down every announcement, every game. I think you'll like it.
Awesome.
After this, of
Awesome. Yeah.
course. Watch this first, then go watch that.
Link in the description. All right. Well, that was cool to see. And that new espionage game, do you think that'll be our first game coming out on PS6 that we got announced, or do you think that will come out on the PS5?
I think we'll see it PlayStation 5. Even if it's as a last generation title, it'll be on PlayStation 5. and it was announced as a PlayStation 5 title with Kojima and Herman Hulst. And I just need to bow at Herman's feet for bringing espionage action back to the PlayStation. I have missed stealth games. Thank you, Herman. Thank you. Give me the spiritual successor to Metal Gear Solid. Inject it into my veins.
Hey, I want to see it as well. I think there was a lot of fun in Metal Gear Solid that I enjoyed. Snake Eater was probably the last one that I played. I need to get back into the series and really jump into the newest one and see what's happening in there. I'm surprised it's not included in like a PS Plus. I've never seen it come up, but I'm sure that's just because these games hold their value for time of years. But let's get into what we got yesterday. State of Play. Just gonna touch on it. If you want to see, I have a live watch along that we did in Cyborg City yesterday, so be sure to check that out. I was reacting like a madman to all of the things that were happening alongside Phoenix, who was also reacting with me. I mean, they had vehicles ride around on chocobos. The traversal has changed dramatically. Look,
It's all about the card game. If
it's
The Witcher 3
all
has
about
taught
the
us
card
anything,
game.
if Marvel Snap has taught us anything, it is all about the card game. It's brand new, wasn't in the original. I'm here for it. Give me Gwent 2.0.
I'm okay. Let's see what the card game has. I love the wacky world. The freaking big mogul with the zipper on his back. The characters are wacky. It's just got this quirky, fun feel, and it really brings like fun into video games. You do all these little side missions, side quests. 61 trophies, I think I read. 61 or 72, just some ridiculous amount. There's gonna be so much to do in this game. This is what I would call a game of a generation, just because I think the ambition, the scope is so large. It literally comes on 2 discs on today's day and age, almost 3, and it is a 3-part game. It comes in 3 parts. They've broken it up. It's so huge, their ambition. So GG's to Square Enix for really pushing this IP through.
Yeah, they've done well with this one. This is what a remake should be. It is new, it is interesting, it's changing things up for the modern audience, and even changing the story up and the way that you interact with it. I think that is how a lot of these remakes should go. I like the authentic ones, the ones that just give you the original experience, but I really like this sort of idea, like a reimagined remake as well, like what they wanted to do originally, maybe.
Oh my gosh, and I can't imagine what they're going to add for the next one. So at the end of the showcase, they dropped a surprise demo, which I just blew my mind, changed my stream all the way to the demo. And not only that, this is the first demo I've ever heard of that is adding DLC to the demo on February 21st. They're adding a new area and it's going to open up the world. It's going to allow you to experience more of the game. And this demo, what you do in the demo carries through to the game. So they're pulling back on those Final Fantasy 16 demo, which I think is really awesome. You literally get to play the first part of the game early, which I think is super cool. I'm already playing Final Fantasy 7, so awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's great. And there was one other that I'm aware of that added DLC to the demo, and that was the Destiny 1 demo. They called
Oh,
it it was a demo. They gave you basically half the game, and they added more stuff to it in the final 2 weeks before then taking it offline and releasing the original Destiny 1. But that is the only other time that I am aware that we've had a demo and then an expanded version of that demo with like additional content just added via a download.
hey, Purple, thanks for jumping into chat. Hope you're doing well. And how do
Just in
chocobos make
time as
babies?
well. I- the same way any chicken
Chocobos
does.
so birds have something called a cloaca. And so the cloaca, anyways, you can Google that and figure it out in science class. Uh
I did not expect you to go full science on it. I love it, but I did not expect it. I was not prepared.
I'll never forget that word. I mean, it's a very unique word.
It
And you
is.
don't
I like it. Cloaca.
I thought of
Dinosaurs
this
had them
in
too.
my friend of mine was a bartender, small segue, and he was like, "Oh, I have to invent this drink." And I'm like, "I have the perfect name for a drink, the Cloaca Kiss." I mean, it just rolls off your tongue. It's a great freaking name for a drink. Anyways,
No, it's not, mate.
I
No, it's not.
digress. Peek to
Anyhow,
sneak. I
it's a
played
big
Silent
topic,
Hill
Tom.
game. Oh, and that's the other thing. Literally, we got the Silent Hill demo as well. A short message, which I played and streamed and was, very disturbed about. But I guess that's what it was meant to do, disturb you, take a look at society today and go like as many posts as you can. I don't know. Or not use social media. I don't know.
Seem to have the appropriate effect on you to make you question everything then.
Yeah. But let's jump into what we've been meaning to do. This has gone on a little bit long, but let's jump in, and that is what we have to talk about on the name of this show, and that is Xbox on PlayStation. There is a lot going around right now. We are a week away from what looks to be an official announcement from Phil Spencer on the issue. Um, I mean, this is pretty crazy news in terms of what's going on. This Xbox announcement. We all thought, you go out and you buy ABK and you're going to dominate the gaming market with your exclusives. But now it's turned around and it looks to me like they're making more of Sega moves and becoming a third-party developer and putting their stuff on everything now. Jump in, let me know your initial thoughts. I'm going to pull up these articles here. We see Hi-Fi Rush, Indiana Jones, Starfield, even job postings for Halo now wanting multi-plat work positions.
Okay, deep breath, big deep breath. I think this is a terrible move. I do not want it to happen. I don't think it's good for the industry. I don't think it's good for Xbox or PlayStation players. It's going to be very good for Microsoft, but that is the only person I feel it is going to be good for. The problem I have with this is that competition breeds innovation. If you look at any sporting, like any sporting environment at all, competition breeds new tactics. Competition breeds new technical innovations. If you're in a technical-based sport, competition makes teams better. You go up against Super Bowl champions one year, they could absolutely fail next year because everybody has seen what they do and they've adjusted their tactics to take on that Super Bowl champion the next year. Red Bull ran away with the Formula One World Championship last year with winning all bar one race. I don't think they're going to do that again this year because everybody has adjusted and advanced and improved. They have taken that innovation, the heartfelt loss, and driven it into being better for the next time out. And it's the same in any competitive environment. You put that into commerce, into business, like we're seeing here with Xbox and PlayStation. Competition breeds innovation. In gaming, that means new mechanics, that means new stories, that means new ways of playing, whether that be in virtual reality, whether that be in on the go, whether that be new ways of interacting with a game, with your controller, whatever the case may be. Competition breeds innovation. And granted, that competition hasn't been super solid coming from Xbox in recent years. They've been very hit and miss with the quality of their exclusive titles, but they've had exclusive titles. They've pushed them out, and there's been a big buzz about all of them, which means that if PlayStation want to pull people over to the PlayStation side of things, they've needed to make better games. What it means for a gamer is you might get everything on one platform. The problem with getting everything on one platform is that everything then becomes stale because it's not competing with anybody else. It doesn't need to compete because everybody's doing the same thing. Everything is the same. When you've got no competition, everybody becomes lazy because if you can just release the same thing next year as you released this year and make just as much money, why would you bother putting more money and effort into something to get the same result when you could just put less effort in and get the same result? And this is my challenge. If this comes to pass, if this is real, if every single Xbox exclusive title is going to be on PlayStation, on PC, on Nintendo, and anything else that comes out in the next however many years, we are going to see a downturn in competition in video games, which means we're going to see a downturn in quality in video games. I don't like this. I don't want this. And I think Xbox should stay as an individual platform with their exclusives and just pump whatever they're trying to do here, whatever effort they're putting into going multi-platform. Again, if this is true, they haven't confirmed anything or denied anything yet. Everything says it's true. Everything points towards it. As you say, we've got job listings for 343 Industries saying they want multi-platform developers, but nothing is confirmed by Microsoft or Xbox yet. And I hope it isn't confirmed. I hope this is just rumor mill, and I don't want it to be true.
I mean, it's true though, right? I know you hope you don't want it to be true, but I mean, the writing's on the wall. We see here job listings. Now, you may have the opinion that there won't be any more competition, but I still think there is competition out there in the water. I think Xbox was underselling after when they got into Xbox One. And he came out and said, we lost the console war. And having those consoles in homes didn't allow his exclusives to penetrate the market as they should. That's doing a disservice to all of the developers that are not on staff at Microsoft Gaming. And so I think to do right by them is to put all of these games and have them in as many stores as possible. It's a different strategy. When you're not winning, you change the game. If you can't beat them, you join them. It's pivot when you have to make your business survive. If that means they become a third-party publisher, I think that's the best move for them moving forward. Xbox may become a third-party box that you put under your TV, or they may just turn into a dongle and do something with NVIDIA. I can't tell the future or where that's going to go, but I think it'll be great for everyone working at Microsoft Gaming, because when they were trapped to only a small pool, now they have access to get their game. And let's be real, game is art. And I think when you have this distribution to more people and more people get to play your games, it brings more pride. Like the people at 343 Industry, they make good games. And get them out there, get more people playing them. It should be an available option for everybody. And I think in that world, money gets made, people enjoy games, and developers have pride in what they're doing in the audience they're able to reach. Now, the competition needs to exist. I will note that, because how do you get better if the person beside you is just on your team? You don't get better. And in that aspect, I really hope competition comes from Nintendo. I know it's not the same piece for piece. They're not even making the same genre of games. But as we see, they're making a Bayonetta. They're making a Splatoon. They're making things to sort of rival Nintendo. And I hope they kind of keep each other in check. Maybe the Switch 2, if that comes out in the upcoming years, will really push the envelope for gaming, and they'll start to come around. But in the end, it's a toy company. So no, I don't know if there's going to be competition anymore. And I hope Sony is just an entertainment company first and foremost, and their main drive is to bring these great entertainment experiences to the forefront and just keep building and evolving. And maybe they don't need competition. I don't know if I'm tricking myself or delusional about that, but
Just a bit.
I don't know, Dorgon. Yeah, I don't know. I just
Look at 2023. What happened last year with PlayStation? We got exactly one game, and
Nothing.
that game was a sequel to 2018. And it played very similarly. It had a little bit of expansion on what came before, but that was a game that they spent 200 million on to be great. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed that game, but it didn't set anything alight within me. It wasn't this new seminal experience. Now imagine that for Infinite and more, because it doesn't need to be. Where's the competition coming from? And what's the point of an Xbox third-party box? What's the point of an Xbox dongle to go into your television? It's exactly the same point I made about Stadia back in the day. If you've got a bit of hardware, if you've got a platform, and it's doing just the third-party stuff, it's doing the same as everybody else, but everybody else is doing that little bit more, why would you stay on the lesser platform, the one that gives you lesser options? That will kill the hardware side of Xbox. And if they do become a third-party publisher, then they've got to up their output quality. You look at what they've put out in the past 12 months. One game has been good, and that was Hi-Fi Rush all the way back in January in 2023. Post that, they've had Redfall, which was a commercial, critical, and everything flop. It was an awful title. They've had Starfield, which has been incredibly divisive. For me, it's not worth the money, time, or effort, personally. For some people, it's the greatest thing that's ever been made. They had Forza Motorsport, which is still a buggy, horrible mess and doesn't properly work or even act like a Forza Motorsport. It's more of an arcade racer than a sim racer, which is not what the sim racing community of Forza wanted. And that was their exclusives in 2023. That's not breeding competition against people who just put out a sequel that does much of the same as the previous one and outsold all of those basically fivefold. Like, where's the competition coming from at that point?
Nintendo? Hopefully. I mean, I think what we'll see is we'll just see them pushing forward with great entertainment products. They'll still be wanting to capitalize on the market. And I just hope they don't, shift too much to mobile because we know PlayStation's going towards mobile. But I also think that today's games are a symptom of this work at home, the COVID experience that we all went through. People were working from home. They didn't know if they were going to survive the next year or what was happening. So they weren't heavy focused. At home is not a great place to sit down, work, and focus and push out an amazing game and a collaborative experience. I think we're still suffering from a lot of that outcome that hits games today. And I think that we're going to start to see maybe a better generation of game because people are starting to return to the office, they're starting to meet together, collaborate, work as a group. They're able to check each other's stuff, and more work gets done in the hours that are charged. And that's what I think the difference between the last 5 years of game production and the next 5 years of game production will have.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I don't think it's got anything to do with COVID at all. You look at the games that we're receiving. Let's look at Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. It came out last week. It has been in development for 10 years. Are you telling me COVID's responsible for that monstrosity? Or is that corporate overlords wanting tick box exercises that tick every box that some focus group says is the important thing? But then you look across the way at Palworld, which just did its own thing, did something unique and different with an already established formula, and it sold great guns. It had such a cultural moment and is still having that cultural moment. Good games sell. Doesn't matter where they are, trust me, it doesn't. And that's why I want different platforms with good games, because if you can only play XYZ good game over here, but ABC good game over here, that's going to make you want to choose between them or even go for both. And that is a powerful thing for companies to have, and it makes them want to be better to bring the people over to their side of things. It's strong in that regard to make gaming better. The reason gaming hasn't been good in the past 5 to 10 years, or we've had so many of these flops, so many of these disasters, is because you've got people just wanting these tick box exercises that are going to sell the most and make the most money, or that you can sell cheat codes in. Like, here, have an XP boost for a single player game that costs you 15 quid extra. Hello, Ubisoft, just to put you out there. Or oh, you want a new skin? Here it is costing you £20 to look different in a game when it used to be something you unlocked by playing it. These are the issues that we are facing. It is the people at the top just thinking in terms of money, not in terms of making good games. I don't think it's got anything to do with remote working. I work remotely, and I have a great collaborative space with the people that I work with. We do incredible work remotely. You look at what Bungie did remotely. They released The Witch Queen. They made and released that completely remotely. They still don't want to return to the office because their quality of life is better working remotely, and they're still incredibly collaborative. I don't think it's as simple as blaming it on a pandemic that lasted for 18 months for most of the year, for most of the world, because they actually have healthcare. I think there's a lot more involved in this, and I think a lot of it is people like Phil Spencer absolutely failing at their jobs. He's been in charge of Microsoft since the Xbox One was announced. They outed Dean Matic, or whatever his name was, I forgot, because he launched a VCR rather than a gaming console. brought in Phil Spencer to save the catastrophe that was that, and he's not moved the needle. In 10 years, he has not moved the needle for Xbox. That's not a developer problem. That's not a consumer problem. That is an Xbox problem. They have not made the software that would pull people over. The PlayStation 3 launch was catastrophic. It was awful. It was 2 times the price of the Xbox 360 with less games and a god-awful looking controller. And they managed to turn that round by putting out the best software possible. It's something that isn't happening with the Xbox exclusives. And them just putting these elsewhere, it's a betrayal and a stabbing back to anybody who's bought into the Xbox ecosystem this generation, because suddenly they're getting less content than everybody else at the same price. Are Microsoft going to refund all the people who bought an Xbox if they put all of the exclusives on other consoles?
That's not happening, no. I don't
Of
think
course
so.
it's not.
No.
Of course it's not. But they have been betrayed. They've been stabbed in the back and their money has gone. But they're now in a position where they've got exponentially less options than anybody else playing, whether you're on PC, PlayStation, or Nintendo. It doesn't matter. Like, the Xbox has, they've undermined every bit of good faith that was left with them. And they built it quite well with Game Pass. Game Pass had been their get out of jail free card. It was what saved them from that Xbox One catastrophe. Because suddenly you could pay a monthly subscription and get access to hundreds of games. Don't get me wrong, it's a scam on the end of things, because most people play one game at a time, and most of those games you're playing for longer than it would cost to actually just buy it outright. But it brought them huge good favor. And they've just gone and undermined that by not talking about it for another week. You've got everybody like us coming out speculating about it. And yes, for PlayStation players who've never got to play these games, it's going to be great to be able to play them. Do not get me wrong. I think playing Halo on this controller is going to be an exponentially better experience. I will grind through that entire series once more. I think for games like Sea of Thieves, which are a live service title and good fun, it's going to be great because it'll be a population explosion for that game. Currently, it being locked on Xbox and PC means there aren't that many people playing. Add in your 50 million PS5 players and adding your 132 million Switch players, suddenly you've got a much bigger population to play with. It's going to be great for that. It'd be great for the more AA titles like Hi-Fi Rush. They'll be bought, they'll be played, they'll be really enjoyed, especially with the critical and commercial success they had on the single platform. But I don't know. I don't want it. I like these lines in the road and everybody competing. It makes the industry better. When we lost Sega, we lost quality titles for a long while. It took Xbox coming in to shake that up and bring that competition back and force everybody to improve. If they now go multi-plat like Sega did, what hope is there for us gamers?
The future is not promised for anyone, especially not for Xbox console holders right now. It's definitely scary times. I don't know where we're going to be in a week. But the writing seems to be that Xbox is turning into Sega. That would be my final prediction on this. And that's what I see happening, unfortunately. I think another American console will sprout out, though, now that you say that. When Sega went down, Sega of America, due to obvious relationships between Sony and Nintendo and everything that was happening back there in Japan as well, I think we could see something else spread out, but it's just crazy. You never know. Maybe it'll just be the Google Play Store and the battle will continue over on mobile. And really console will just be kind of left behind and we'll just get those experiences that they are willing to give us because there is no competition. You know, competition can only last so long before you win. And I think maybe this is what we're kind of seeing.
But
Somebody's
what
got
about
to
the
win,
zero
right?
to hero? What about the underdog? What about Leicester City winning the Premier League? What about Stoke City winning the League Cup. What about these amazing sports stories where the underdog takes it, where the underdog from nowhere wins everything? Damon Hill nearly winning at the Hungarian Grand Prix in 1997. He was driving a car that should have been at the back of the field. How the hell was he leading the race? Like, these are the moments that sport and competition brings. These are the moments that competition such as this, industry competition, should bring. 5G only came about because one network operator wanted to outdo all the others, and then the governing body said, no, everybody's got to do it. So we got 5G, faster internet on our mobile phones. This is how industries operate. Like, we can't just have winners and losers. You have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back in the ring and fight again. The Rocky movies would be really boring if Rocky gave up after going down first time. We've got so many examples of this, but we should probably see what chat are saying, because it's been going.
It's been aggressive, and like I thanks so much for everybody hanging out. That's a good idea. Why don't we go through chat? I think you've heard a lot about our voices on this. Thanks, Dorgon. Let me just scroll up here and see what we got. Purple. We see there will be companies. There will be competition. Microsoft going to get more money from PS and Nintendo to fund Game Pass and AAA titles. But that's what Sanchez Gaming. But if the AAA titles are available on every platform, I mean, what's the point of signing up for Game Pass? I mean, if I could just purchase the games outright and not a subscription, if I'm gonna, I don't know. I don't know if Game Pass will be their shining light to stay alive as a service on
I'm not sure
other
Game Pass is
consoles.
long for this world. When you look at the other
Yeah,
deals that they've made with GeForce Now, with Boosteroid, with Ubisoft and co to distribute all of their titles on cloud services, I'm not sure Game Pass needs to be a thing anymore. Don't get me wrong, it's direct money to Microsoft, and they're probably not going to just write it off, get rid of it. But if you haven't got a console that's got the Xbox logo on it, because you can play everything that plays and more elsewhere, you're going to have something else that gives you more options at the table. Most of those options will not allow Game Pass on. Both Nintendo and Sony have said Game Pass will never be on our systems. So those ones you can't get. PC's already got Game Pass, and it's basically at complete adoption already. Anybody who's going to have Game Pass on a PC has Game Pass on a PC. I don't know how much truth is in that statement, or if there can be truth in that statement, because there's industry issues in the way of it. Yes, they'll have the funding to make AAA games. I don't think it can fund Game Pass. Not with how expensive
yeah.
that is, at 200 to 300 million a time to get games on Game Pass.
Yeah, so it could be the end of Game Pass. I think the next week we'll hear perhaps the future of Game Pass and whether they will be exclusively releasing their titles. We saw rumors that Call of Duty wouldn't enter Game Pass on its next iteration, so perhaps that's the way forward, is just these individual releases to obtain as much money as possible. Purple says Xbox hasn't really been top tier game design for a while. Some of their titles have not been performing well. We know that Halo Infinite has a historic low population. Grounded did very well, though, I thought, for itself. So they do have some titles that come out well, but I mean, it's hard. I mean, Minecraft is obviously one that comes to mind that just is obviously dominating the market and that genre of creation
But
games.
it's not one Microsoft created. That was something
No.
Mahjong made, and then Microsoft bought them out, and then just funded further advancement and expansion of it. They didn't make Gears of War. That was Epic Games, and then they bought the IP out and made a new studio, and never reached the same heights as the Epic Games made ones. Halo was Bungie made. They bought the IP out from Bungie when Bungie went to Activision, and have never made a game of the same quality as what Bungie made. I think the only one that has maintained quality until this latest release has been the Forza series, because that's always been Playground Games, which has always been an in-house Microsoft studio. A lot of the other stuff, they've either bought the studios up, brought them in, and mismanaged them, as we've seen with the likes of Redfall. Like, they just didn't even bother looking at it, just release it, and it wasn't even started, let alone finished in terms of development. And as Purple says, it's not been top tier for a long while. It's why the Xbox One wasn't able to compete with the PlayStation 4. If they'd made the great software, the competition would have changed. They'd have been more neck and neck, but they didn't make the software to pull people over. So yeah, I see what she's saying there.
Yep. Maker says, in my opinion, Microsoft has great exclusives that people have potentially missed out on. Let me know. I know Ori was definitely a colorful game that people have got to experience now on Switch. I know that's been a highlight of their gaming. Halo Infinite, I mean, we all know it would have done better if it was multi-plat. The first-person
It would have done
shooters.
better if it had a better story. Like if they delivered on what they promised. And this was the issue. Many Halo players, they don't just play it for the multiplayer. The multiplayer is great, by the way, now. If you go and play Halo Infinite multiplayer, it's fantastic. Highly
Yep.
recommend. But it took them 2 years to get to that point after it was launched. It was bare bones and barren when it launched. Like, and that was with a year's additional delay. So, like, yeah,
Sanchez
same
says, I'm
situation.
fine. I'm fine with Xbox games coming to PlayStation, but they saying it'll be timed, not day one release on PlayStation. That may be a way to go about it. That would absolutely allow them to maintain some sort of exclusivity, some sort of competition, and still double dip. Allow their developers to make money still and maintain a great pool of gamers. I think honestly that's the best way to move forward, and that's what I kind of hope for. I'm sure Dorgon is probably hoping for that as well. They maintain exclusivity, but we're gonna see a 6-month release window therefore after on first party games.
I'd like to
Oh,
see it longer. 12 months, 2 years.
a
I'd like
year?
to see it longer. I want
1
to
year.
see that competition
Come on. 1
longer.
year.
Give it longer. It doesn't need to come in a year. Like you've got to have that exclusive reason to be on that platform. That's got to be a better platform to be on. And yes, they can have a cloud platform, but that's only available in 24 countries. There's 195 countries in the world. So they do still need that hardware. You've got to give people a reason to have that hardware. So if that's the way they're going, it's going to be a timed exclusivity deal, which okay, I'm more on board with that one. Got to give it 2 years.
I do agree with Sanchez. I think selling your Xbox is a bit premature. Wait to hear the news. Uh, although people may be wanting to get as high value for it as possible, thinking that the
Yeah,
value for the
sell it now
Xbox
before
may
it tanks
drop.
in value next week.
Sega didn't spend $69 billion on the studio. No, they did not. And if they did back in the early or late 90s, they probably wouldn't have been doing so well.
Miss
Phoenix
Phoenix
mentioned,
brings up a good point. Backing me up,
yeah,
Brawn GP. Yeah, a team that had no engine, no sponsors, was bought out for £1. £1, a Formula One team. Like the wing that goes on the car costs 3 million more than that. And they won the world championship. The only team in history to have a 100% win record of drivers and world championships. Like brilliant. Yeah, she's 100%. Pick yourself up, get back in the ring. They're now the Mercedes F1 team, one of the most formidable there's ever been. Thanks for backing me up there,
GG's.
Miss Phoenix. I appreciate that one.
Ninja backs you up too. He says, I'm going to steal Dorgon's speech and become famous. So,
Don't
Miss
worry, I'm
Phoenix
cutting it out of
left.
this afterwards, editing some stuff over, and yeah, it's going out on my channel too.
um, we have some more comments. I would pay for Doragon Reforge Gaming debate. Maker of Chaos says a Flight Sim, Forza, Psychonauts are all phenomenal games.
Yes,
Flight Sim
yes,
is
they
a good
are.
shout for sure.
It
That would
runs
be an
terribly
interesting
on
one to port.
console, though, my understanding is.
It's a PC game first and foremost, though.
Yeah, you want a PC for Flight Sim, and you want all the
Yeah,
sticks and stones
yeah,
and
you want
other
the
stuff. Yeah,
levers.
yeah. You want Mr. Mobile's setup. He's got everything. Like he flies an X-wing and what have you. There, that's what you want.
He also brings up Gears 5. And Gears 5 is a good show. I've been playing it. It's not bad.
It's fun. It's not a patch on the original trilogy.
Yeah. The original trilogy, the moment I still remember the moment when the freaking guy died. It's sad, and I'm like, why are video games making me sad? That was a turning point for me. But that I believe wraps it up. I believe a lot of people had some things to say. Hopefully, we got to all your comments. But yeah, it's crazy to hear all this news be in front of the rumors. But we are going to find out more next week directly from the horse's mouth, Phil Spencer. I believe you got all of our perspective and points on it. But I think Dorgon, do you have any closing words for the Xbox on PlayStation debate?
It's obviously going to be a conversation piece next week because we are going to be hearing about it before our next episode goes live. So yes, we will be revisiting this, but we will be coming back with actual information direct from the horse's mouth from the failure that is Phil Spencer, and whether he's still going to have a job afterwards, because that is a big speculation point at the moment as well. It should be an interesting meeting, announcement, whatever they're doing next week. So yeah, we'll be revisiting this on next week's podcast. But there's a much more important thing before then. It's called Helldivers 2, and Rudigs is about to give something out to someone who is going to be joining him saving the world.
All right, let's pull it up. Wheel of Names. And I've got everybody's name in here. I did ×3 for the people who won multiple times, ×2, so I'll take it out so no one's confused. So you have your multiple entries down there. Everybody, hey, best of luck, and thanks for hanging out on all the streams and making Helldivers this awesome hype train it's been. Let's spin the wheel. All right, good luck, everybody.
Wheel.
Sanchez!
I don't have like an effect.
Sanchez MTC, GG's. Hopefully we'll see you on the battlefield. I'll be getting in touch with you through Discord or Twitter. I believe I got you on. We'll be hooking you up and getting you that title. So thanks everyone for coming out, hanging out on stream with me, really making this Helldivers that much more special. So I do appreciate it.
Well done, Sanchez. Well done, mate. Sorry,
Awesome,
Miss Phoenix. I
awesome.
tried. I put the British look in there for you, but I think the border of Wales and England was too strong.
Well, that's all we have for this week. It's been a great episode. Thank you for getting us through it. All this Xbox crazy PlayStation rumors, but we made it. You can find Super PlayStation Bros, the podcast, the VOD, all our episodes on Cloud&Console. Be sure to check us out. We'll be back. Actually, we're taking a break next week because Valentine's Day
that's not
and
a
our
week
birthdays.
to take.
No,
So yeah, I'm not here. I'm on holiday for my birthday. It's your birthday on the 15th. So you're
Yeah.
doing shenanigans. It's my partner's birthday on the 15th. So we're definitely doing shenanigans. This is why we go on holiday. Oh, we might
Yeah.
have to do an impromptu session at the weekend. We shall see. But yeah,
Yes.
it could just mean we've got a bunch of stuff for the week after.
But just stay tuned into all the socials. You can find our links in the description of the link below. All that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out. It's been an absolute great show. Chat was amazing. You guys make this show super awesome. So thanks. All right, shall we roll
Take
the
care,
credits?
guys.
Close the door?
Do it. Roll those credits. Bye, guys.